ago.
Oh, yes. Hello. Hello out there. And what is this? Podcast land, I should say?
Podcast land.
Podcast land. This is episode 2 of the Pick and Flip podcast. And an exciting one at that, because tonight we have another person joining us, Mr. Shannon Pack. What you got going there, Shan?
What's that now?
Is that reefer?
What am I No. This is just not in here. Not in here.
They call that what do they call that thing you're holding? A juice box?
No, I mean I hate using the word vape. It's such a douchey word. I just call it an e-cig, man. Look, let me tell you something. This thing, like, I was going through 2 packs of Newports a day.
Ooh,
until I switched over to this thing. What, like 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Like
really?
So now I've put down one addiction for another now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't you hit that just like 24/7 though? That's my problem. That's why I never,
way more.
Yeah. Jasper,
it's a little bit ridiculous.
Jasper only smokes when he comes around me, and then he barrels through about 3 packs of hundreds. Then there was a point where he was nailing a couple packs in a few hours, and then still vaping too.
Oh, wow.
Shannon, you and I have met, haven't we?
Met. What are you talking about? Of course. I was going to ask how everything was. How you been?
Knox has vaped a lot.
We yeah.
He's lost a lot.
Last time I saw you was when you were DJing over at the What was that bar around the Fat Boys?
Yeah.
No. Fat
Boys. Yep.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Sorry. I haven't seen you in what?
Times.
12 years I haven't seen you? It's been a while.
Yeah. It's been a while. Like I started working back in optics. Oh yeah. 2010 I left Lens Crafters and then DJ'd for like 3.5 years, and so it's been good though.
Sorry, I was hazy for a second, Shannon. It's been a long time. My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jesus, you seem.
Oh man, it's all good.
Yeah, well,
I didn't recognize you with the beard either.
But let's remember, I was half the time blasted out of my head at that point in time,
blasted,
so I couldn't.
Especially by the time I got over there, Jesus.
Yeah, that was where was Shannon there the night that we had the dumpster incident. The dumpster incident.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he was. He was.
Shannon has to remember that one.
Yeah. Anyways, enough about that.
Yeah,
So tonight is all about liquidation. Shannon actually hit me up, and I had a brain fart, and I said, "Well, hell, it'd be a lot better to do this right on here." As a matter of fact, and he had a few questions about it. And thank you, Mikey. Yes, Knox, Mr. Griffiths. Love it.
It's not in my hand. I was just curious.
No, I got you. I got you. I was going to pull up those pictures at some point. We'll talk about that. Well, where do we want to start? So Knox, I know Knox even wants to, he was talking about when he comes down, he wanted to bring a big van and take a few back with him.
Yep.
On the way.
This is true.
Last one that Jasper got, he was real happy about all of his scooters, weren't you, Jasper?
Oh yeah. Fantastic.
Wow.
He kind of took a hit.
It's a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
Let's say if somebody brings in, you bring a $1,500 in your hand up to your pallet place. What can someone expect if they buy properly?
That depends
to
on
flip that into. I mean, if you're doing home.
Like money? Like what do you think that you could like just let's say it's a good day, right?
What's the ROI on $1,500?
And you walk in and let's just say the place is pretty packed, lots of pallets, right? Good variety. If you picked out the right ones, I mean, it could be. I would always say, I mean, it's very, very easy. Again, if you walk in there with some knowledge and know what you're getting, I mean, it's very easy to triple your money, don't you think, Jasper?
Yeah.
I mean, when all is said and done, here's the thing: you don't realize when you're looking at a pallet just exactly how much you're going to get. Whether it's what they call a Gaylord, the industry standard is a Gaylord. It's a giant box on top of a pallet, and they fill that, and then you'll of course have hand stack pallets that can go up to 7 feet. Standing there looking at it, you don't realize until you really get into it how much you got. So with that being said, one of the biggest things is that it's hard to calculate your return on investment when you're selling here, selling there, and that. But I mean, it is very, 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 very easy to double your money, even just being haphazard about picking it out. One other thing I'll say too is that, especially, well, if you use like say $1,500, right? If you're going to use that as a thing, you're looking at multiple pallets, right? So if you get a few, well, not really a few, but if you get a couple or a few pieces that are crap, junk, garbage, not even worth for stuff, I mean, you can at least absorb that with the other pallets you get. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know? So
I feel like if you went in with just $500, you wouldn't be. Or could you turn one $250 pallet into $1,000? Could you do $1,000 out of one that's $250?
Well, I have. I mean, I have. You gotta.
How much were those pet pallets you used to get?
Well, back in the day, they used to be what, $350, $375 probably. I mean, it really hasn't changed. Prices really haven't changed a lot. And I don't remember where I was at with those last two. I mean, listen, I got 2 pet pallets, which are incredible return on investment. And he swore to me, he goes, there's a good chance there's an iPhone in the bottom of this one, because there was some Apple stuff mixed in with pet stuff. It's really weird. And I thought he was full of crap. I got the pet pallet anyways because I love the pet stuff. And sure as shit, though, we get down to the bottom. There was an iPhone. I don't remember what it was, but we got 400 or 500 out of that thing alone. Now that doesn't happen very often.
Wow.
That was like back in the day. I mean, and Jasper, you'll remember this when we used to buy those $225, $250 Kmart pallets, and they used to be, you'd get down to the bottom, and then all of a sudden, I mean, you got a good pallet, and you get down to the bottom. There's two. This was when the little what are they called, iPods, and the little I don't remember which version it was though that had the video screen.
The Nanos.
It might be a little bit
the
bigger.
Nanos,
slim, kind of bigger, about this big.
The classic.
Yeah, something like that. Either way, they were a real quick $100. I know that much, and they were always like new and perfect. I mean, you could get a couple of those in the bottom of a pallet. That's what it's all about—the treasure hunt, right? That's what you want. But yeah, 500. You want to be. I mean, if you're looking at like a budget to go and do this the first time, I mean, the best thing is just to go get one pallet and try it. I mean, that's the best thing. It really is. There's no reason to.
That's what I was trying to determine. With being super green to it, we were trying. One of the things is trying to make sure, like you were saying earlier, if it's a reputable company, and what you're going to pay. That's probably the big thing. I know I was looking at I won't say their name, but there's a company that's about 50 miles north or south of us, and they were selling anywhere from $200 to $2,500 for a pallet.
And that's the place you showed me.
And then they would label it. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the only place I've known. Yeah. To even have them.
You're in kind of a weird spot right there. Being that close to the coast, especially. See, a lot of people don't like to do things that close to the coast because the way that trucks run, it's really not conducive to good freight quotes. So if you're closer to 95, in other words, lots happening around there, so you can get better freight. You've got a place down in Myrtle Beach that is Jasper's favorite place in the world. Like, he would just hang out there. What's possible, right, Jasper? But we have if we have about 12 hours, we can talk about horror stories.
There are most definitely some shady pallet companies out there.
Yeah, I will say this about the place in Wilmington that you showed me, Shannon. They look legit. I know they got like a furniture store attached to it, but it doesn't look like they're. So that's one thing that you got to understand about pet pallets. And he got me thinking about my pet pallets. One thing you want to remember about pallet places is that they can get in a truckload, they can rape the living crap out of that in an hour and sell them to you for the same price that a reputable place is going to sell it to you, but without the good stuff in there.
Right.
And one sure tell sign of that is if they have a store. So, you always want to look out for that. That's one thing. A place that deals with pallets and liquidation and sells truckloads, etc.
Question.
That's where you want to be. Yeah.
With the cherry picking and the rewrapping that goes on,
mm-hmm.
Are there any dead giveaways in terms of like the saran wrap that's on it, the cello that's wrapped around it? Like, can you tell just by looking at that, or is it pretty?
I can tell you one way. If you ever doubt it. If you keep a very keen eye to how loads come in as far as different labels and stuff. And the other thing that you want to look out for is that a lot of places, even bigger pallet places, are not going to have a pallet wrapper. So if you have, and what I mean by that is, the wrap around a pallet, when it's real tight, multiple layers, it's not tied off in the corner. That's a surefire way to know that it hasn't been touched, typically,
If it's covering the wood in the bottom and it's tight around the corners.
Well, yeah, I wish I was more prepared. I could show you a.
Well, for next time,
for instance, but yeah,
this is only our second episode. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, I shouldn't be showing up within like 3 minutes of going on. We have like, you know what I mean? That's all right. Throw it together, make it happen. It'll work. Yeah, I'm trying to. These pallet wrappers, you put it on a big pedestal and it just goes around and around and wraps the hell out of it. You can't do that by hand. You can't really replicate that. There's a lot of sure signs though. And then you could fall victim like Jasper has numerous times where you see all these nice electronics on the top, sides, then you get into the inside of the middle. Or how about that? Do you remember, Jasper? Do you remember that? Do you remember that pallet we got
me with that freaking juice box, dude?
With the juice box. Remember that Target that looked so great and wrapped around the outside, and we got to the middle of it, and it was like a Power Wheels. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I also remember the one that I bought that was supposed to have like some nice tablets and stuff on top, but then up under that was 2 huge boxes full of phone cases.
Yeah.
Or outdated phone chargers, I believe it was.
Yeah, like dumped right in the middle, and then all the good stuff, around
it.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Got some Nokia cases in the middle.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is one thing that you will see, and they are cheap. Is phone cases, iPhone accessories. Even there's a place up in Charlotte that had a lot of these Belkin pallets, which is a good name. And the stuff was super clean. I think it came from Target. They were big Gaylords. Price was right. It was not a huge mix of, but a lot of chargers. What were there? There was a couple of things in there, Jasper. You and I looked at them a little bit, like just throwing pictures around. I don't remember what else was in there, but there was some good, some decent.
There's a lot of wireless chargers, like charging pads.
Yeah, which is good stuff, but you get so much of it. And then God forbid you ever want to do that on eBay. You've got 9 billion people, including all the China knockoffs, all the China. It's so hard. And then, when you go to a flea market, no offense to flea markets, but they really don't typically carry around iPhones. So, you're kind of stuck with a lot of iPhone stuff. But yeah, anyway,
now,
Shannon,
what do y'all think? What do y'all think about, like, I looked at like liquidation.com and some of the companies I guess you can contact on the web to see
Yeah.
You know, where yeah, and I guess everybody just kind of has their pallets shipped to them, like with something like that, depending on obviously where you live. But
yeah, and you can, and there's LTL shipping. You can add certain shippers. Will put a certain shippers will always have a pallet jack with them and a what do they call that? The thing that drops down in the back. Yeah. Lift gate, and you can pay extra for that. And, you know, you can have pallets delivered to you, but let me tell you this, in the age of YouTube, which by the way, I'm really happy that this is a thing. Especially on YouTube, is that if you look at anybody who does these unboxing videos or that does any of this stuff on YouTube, is always about bulk, BULK or Q, and liquidation.com. I can tell you that I've never ordered anything online. I've been doing this for, I don't know, a decade, close to it. Never have done any of that. No mystery boxes, no, not any of it. And if you look at any videos, that's exactly what they're telling you to do. That's exactly, you know what I mean? It's not the way to go. Jasper, do you ever order one online? Or any mystery boxes or any of that stuff? No, never pulled the trigger.
To see it in person, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes a big difference. I guess a lot of people don't understand that there's a secret world out there of a lot of pallet places. You know, people see, people do, and you I mean, listen, you take an hour and just breeze through a bunch of YouTube videos of the pros, the entrepreneurs that want to sell you how to do things and whatnot. They're going to tell you the liquidation.com and bulk. And listen, I'm an extremely seasoned buyer. I've seen lots of pallets, and I have absolutely combed through a lot of them, looked at them, not super in depth, but enough to know that I don't know how in a million years, when you tack on freight, that you could, I mean, because here's another thing. A lot of people will say shipping, right? So you think shipping and you think, you know, slapping in a box and UPS is going to drop it off to you. And that's not usually the case, especially when you're talking about pallets. You know, they sell smaller lots, I guess, those boxes. And
one of the great examples of how to get killed on shipping and ruin your great deal is Uline. You ever order that? So I had to order a bunch of boxes, like a bunch of suitcase boxes.
Yeah.
So I ordered 500 of them, and I got them for like, I don't know, maybe like, no, I'm sorry. I ordered 100 of them. Back it up. $100. I paid like $3 a piece for them. Well, that was a great deal until it cost $575 to have a pallet dropped off where I was bringing them to.
Yeah.
Which then doubled. It made the whole thing cost. I mean, it was more, the shipping cost more than the items did.
All right, let me tell you a really quick funny story. Jasper, you might remember this. The dude that lived near me that used to go to the auctions that sold on eBay and drove little Honda cars. Do you remember him? Anyways,
I don't believe so.
He ordered priority mailboxes and wasn't paying attention to, you can order free priority mailboxes off of the post office website, and they ship them to you for free. Well, he didn't realize the counts, because like you'll put one in, but it's a pack of 25 or whatever. And he ended up with 2 pallets worth that he had to go pick up at the post office.
For free though?
Yeah, all for free. You know, you got to use them for shipping, but
that's the only time that I'll do free shipping on anything, is if I can fit it into one of those boxes and it's a big enough, it's a, you know,
it's the only way.
A sliver of what it cost.
Well, hello there, Christy. Old flea market buddies. She's just set up across from us. Yeah, miss you guys, you and John. Haven't seen them since your wedding, Jasper.
Yeah.
So bulk and liquidation.com. Stay away, Shannon. Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't do it.
I got another question too. With now, do y'all normally just? I listened to the last show and was you know, you talked about marketplace, you talked about, you know, eBay, stuff like that. Now, do you still do like the flea market thing and or are you primarily just kind of shipping it from your house?
Well, I started my thing is I got out of doing pallets quite a few years ago. I'm bad with math. And I got into just health and beauty aid liquidation, which is all anything basically you see at a Rite Aid, right? Lots of drugs, good drugs, legal drugs, but pretty much anything between cosmetics to watches. We were talking about the watches, those comes in those loads too, but mainly a lot of health and beauty aids. So I was doing 100% just online, running eBay out of my little condo at the beach. Somehow I made room, and then since we moved up here. And it wasn't until recently that when Emily, my fiance, she was a server and of course lost her job. And that was a perfect opportunity. Like, well, let's go down and grab a few pallets, sell on Facebook Marketplace. So I didn't really have I didn't have a lot of knowledge, only sold a few things here and there on Marketplace. And so then we got into that. Now, here's the problem. When you buy a lot of merchandise and you're taking out all the good stuff, right, for Marketplace, because not all of it's going to be good, especially, how many porch pickups do you want for $10 and $15, $20, people on your porch coming? It's just, I don't know. It's just not cool. So we accumulated a crap load of stuff. So we finally said, let's go back to the flea market. And I think our fourth time at the flea market will be tomorrow morning. And that has worked out really well because we have accumulated a crap load of stuff.
Are there a lot of masks being worn at the flea market?
No, we're in South Carolina. This flea market, though, there's a good amount because literally you park in North Carolina. The line runs right down. It's on the other side of 495 from Carowinds, kind of like how Carowinds, the amusement park, is split between the two. Well, that's kind of how this flea market is, because the flea market's in South Carolina, but you park in North Carolina. So you see North Carolina, of course, with the state mandate with the masks. So everybody, there's a good mix, but I'd say majority is no, not so much. Listen, Shannon, this is one thing I've always used to, I always said, and if we're firing on all cylinders, this would be the best way. And it's the closest to it. I can always say that when you buy a pallet or pallets or buy anything for that matter, you go through and you want to identify what's the best method for selling that. Right. There's a lot of things that'll be great on eBay, and there's a lot of things that are great on Marketplace, but not vice versa necessarily. And then there's a lot of things that just need to go to the flea market for many different reasons.
Yeah.
Then there's always a fun time, and Jasper's done this quite a few times, is once that all builds up after a while, all your eBay stuff that you don't even want to take time to put up, you start building those boxes, and you go out there and just literally, right, Jasper, just throw junk out there and let them dig through it for whatever, and you can make a hell of a good money.
Your big old dollar sales you used to have.
Those old famous dollar sales I used to have were a lot of fun, man. I used to love that. I would take all of my broken stuff, all the very used stuff that's missing pieces, stuff that I just don't want to take time, and it would just pile. And man, it would be like 4 spots of just heaps of stuff for 2 days straight. And everything was $1. Used to go out there with piles of microwaves, and it was always
broken
fun,
microwaves for $1.
Yeah, because a lot of them, a lot of people would buy them, bring them back. I don't go through and retest anything, and there's a lot of salvageable things. By the way, a microwave is pretty heavy.
$1 fill a bag for $1.
It got to that point. A few times, for sure. But yeah, so to my point, it's always good when you do buy a pallet is to, find your channels, do your due diligence as far as where you're going to maximize that money. That's one of the biggest things. So I do want to say this really quick. I know you got more questions, but I do want to say this really quick about your place that you're talking about in Wilmington. They look pretty reputable. I looked through their pictures and stuff.
Yeah, I did too.
But I will say this: when you get into this Lowe's and Home Depot stuff, that is great to leave for the professionals. Most of the stuff that, and I mean professionals, not even me. I mean, it's some of that Lowe's stuff is just so hard to move. You've got really high end things. I'll give you two specific things that we basically acquired, if you will. One was this tile, very nice tile, and we had quite a bit of it. I want to say about 10 cases, brand new.
Wow.
Perfect boxes, retailed for about $70 a box. And it's just so specific. It's hard to sell, you just got to wait, so now that's going to be sitting there for quite a while. The other thing is, and we only jumped on them because they're a very good deal. And I saw that they had some there as well, are these, and you guys are familiar with laundry pedestals, right? You stay away from those, by the way. They're terrible. They're not a good seller. But these were laundry pedestals that had small washing machines underneath them. So you put them on the bottom and then your washing machine on top, so you can run a small load on the bottom. It's a completely separate washing machine that's in the shape and form of a laundry pedestal. So that's kind of cool. And they retail for $500 or $600. We've got 5 or 6 of them. Got a great deal on them. They're all factory sealed and all banded. But like no bites. So, I mean, you're going to be sitting on that for quite a while. So for somebody like yourself that's trying to make a quick flip, there's a lot of, again, really good higher end, retail stuff, but it's kind of hard to sell. It's
got to find your buyer.
You got to find your, and even in the area that I'm at, and Jasper and I have these discussions all the time, because there are a lot of things in this area that I can sell that he probably would have a really, really hard time with where he's at. There's a big difference in same where you guys are at. Listen, like where you're at, Shannon, I'm going to tell you, I can tell you this, and it's not easy to find, and I will absolutely help if I see any, and not too long from now, but we've been buying this bye-bye baby stuff. And it is incredible. We're talking $600 strollers and stroller attachments and lots of baby stuff. And are you in Wilmington? You're in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, I'm in Jacksonville now.
And you're
I mean, a large military.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The baby stuff is fantastic. Toys, especially.
Yeah,
this bye-bye baby stuff is super clean, like really nice. Hard to find though. It's not something that you can get every single day. But that's the quick flip stuff, right? That's the stuff that is something you can flip quick anyways. And by the way, are you off of Piney Green? Not to give away your location and dox you, but you're right in that area, right?
Say it one more time.
Piney Green. Are you off of that, Roan, in that area?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm off Piney Green.
I'm almost certain, we'll talk off air, but I'm almost certain you're in the same place where I used to live. Where Knox, do you remember the night when we took your caddy around and knocked over all the garbage cans?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that, because I've seen pictures. See pictures outside of your house, and it's like exactly the same as my old house right there. So I say that.
That car.
That's cool.
That car got repoed live on the air. It got repoed live on the air.
That was the worst investment I ever made. Was that car. And I gave it. That was so bad. That car was such a piece of shit that I gave it back to the bank thinking that it was going to wipe out the rest. I think I had like $4,000 left on the note, and I had a company vehicle. So I was like, forget it. And so I said, come get it. So they came and got it. Well, after they auctioned it off, I think $185 went to principal. The rest of it was like all the fees and everything else. So it didn't do anything.
Oh my God.
Brutal. That
Tony car, D, thank you for checking in, Tony D.
When it ran, it was great, but it didn't run very often. Remember the problem? I remember when I was living in Jacksonville, and the brake lights decided to go out one day on it. Just my brake lights just no longer worked, and I was driving to New Bern, and somebody flew off the road behind me because I had hit the brakes and it didn't brake lights didn't come on. and all of a sudden this car just flew by me doing like 40, like on the right side on the grass.
Oh,
to keep from hitting me, because there were no brake lights. But every time that car was in the shop, they would give me a Cadillac CTS to drive around, and that was awesome. That's
why you wanted the CTS.
Roadside assistance was very much a cool thing at that point.
All right, Jasper, your question for you. What do you think, what is your advice as far as one of the best kind of pallets for somebody that's starting out? That one really quick question though, Shannon, would you be more Facebook Marketplace? Do you have an active eBay account? Do you, what would be your method starting out?
Well, it probably Facebook Marketplace. I've already got an eBay account, which I order stuff from eBay all the time. But I've never sold anything on eBay, so that would be a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, this is the deal. I've got a full-time job. I would love. This is basically the supplement, unless we could roll it into something like you've been able to do. And I know Knox is trying to do too, kind of make it into something you can kind of exist on and not have to, kind of be your own boss for sure.
It's entirely possible.
Can I make a suggestion as to what to do before jumping into a whole pallet? Because I want to get one too bad, but when I was in West Virginia, one of the FBA return places opened up, and Creed knows what I'm talking about. Do they have those down in Jacksonville?
A bin store. I don't know if Jacksonville does or not.
So Shannon, basically, like you go in on a Friday or it's like a Saturday morning, doors open at 7 in the morning, and there's a line starting at like 11 o'clock the night before, and they bring in all these baskets. So they're pallets more or less, but they put them in these wire baskets and bins. It's a bin sale, and they line the room, and you walk in, you get like an IKEA bag. And it's a free for all, and it's $5 an item. Yeah, and they've got like iPads in there, and a lot of it is like the B grade, like that was like generic.
A lot of it, it's Amazon
stuff.
It's weird.
It's good though. So sometimes you do get some better Amazon stuff. Basically, if you've seen an ad for it on your Facebook feed, they've got it in these places. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I will say myself that I went in there. I spent $120. So however many items I got for the 120, and
don't expect to have the same turnout as he did, though. You just hit that business when they were newer.
But I got
the board you're using, wouldn't you?
I got the board I'm using. Yes, the board. I have a Behringer USB. It was a return, but it works. You know what I mean? It was crazy. Yep. I had projectors still in the box. Yeah. Dr. J projectors. I had car parts. I would get like car parts in these things, like still in the box car parts. And while you're sitting there, the only bad part about this place was it was a metal building and my internet was crap. So I couldn't try and check eBay completed while I was looking. So the first thing that I ever did in getting into the resale business, or anytime that you're going to go out and look for anything to resell, get that eBay app on your phone and constantly get either scan it or get to where you can look that up and see it completed as fast as you can without anyone even noticing,
Oh, I don't care.
And then
just to check prices
anymore.
Yeah, I don't care. You can watch me check prices all day. I don't care.
Should I not care when I go places?
Nah, you really shouldn't. No,
I felt like I was.
I do. I used to feel weird about it. I don't care. If anybody says anything, I'm trying to make a living. Now, if I'm standing at somebody's house at a yard sale, I'd feel like an asshole. But
yes, that's what I'm saying. I'll walk away, pretend I'm on my phone texting somebody or whatever, and I'll look at something. But it's But while I was in the bin store, I was checking too. But it was really hard. But I made a pretty good on that 120. I definitely did over 500.
And that was on eBay though, with small. So now, for him.
Now, what kind of place was that again?
Well, it's a bin store. I'll have to look and see if there's any close to you. I don't really know if there is.
There's a good chance there are, because
they're growing all over the country.
I mean, around Jasper now, there's like 4, pretty close.
Wow.
Yeah, they're popping up all over. But that's more. And as a matter of fact, I sold some stuff today from a trip that I made quite a long time ago. I went in Shelby, North Carolina. It's the upper part of outside of Charlotte. And I got a ton of refrigerator filters. And they're an Amazon brand. They were $3 a piece. I found everyone. See, this is where you become an asshole. Those when you go and find all the triples and the doubles that are packaged together. You get more bang for your buck. But I mean, investment of $6, and I'm at 34. Today I sold 30. It was $34. They ship in a priority mail mailer for $7. But you see, now that's more on your eBay side of things, and it's a lot of digging, right, Jasper? I mean, seriously, you gotta really dig. And here's the other thing that's a real bitch about those is they have these rules of not opening boxes. They don't like you to open up boxes, and a lot of it is just a brown box with a barcode, and you got to figure that out yourself. So sometimes you look at something and you think, it's kind of
read it. Well, you can, but you can read the little barcode on the side. If you look close enough, you can see it on there, though.
Sometimes it's still really hard to figure out. You get kind of creative though, and you learn how to kind of peek on the side. And
you also can find out what's legit and what's not from those advertisements that you saw on your Facebook page. So like all those weird little knickknacks that you see for sale.
Good point. All right, so Jasper, you've had lots of time to think about it. What would you suggest if somebody asks you, as far as go to for if you're newer, we'll say, or new, as far as a pen? Walmart toys. If you ran into Walmart toys, would you suggest that?
That was always one of my favorites.
Yeah, we just got one a couple weeks ago, and I haven't had one in forever, and that was always fun to go through those.
In the toys, you're usually going to have some good stuff if you want to sell on eBay, but then it's also going to move good at flea market too.
Yeah.
And you could probably sell something on Facebook Marketplace too.
We did. We found out of the one that I got, we've got 5 of these elephants that come with a little peanut and a mouse, I think it is. I don't remember what they're called. They retail around.
Friends.
Is it one of them? I don't know.
Yeah, it's for real.
I don't know, but I had a flashback from the old days when we were looking for those birds. Remember the birds? Those little birds? I had a couple of that brand, and I was like, I wonder if they're still worth, and they seem to be still fairly decent. But Walmart toys was always fun. And that, if you ever track down some toys, Shannon, that's especially for your area, that's another good one. Baby and that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There was one I meant to send you earlier, and I forgot. I saw a picture on their on their thing where, because they take a lot of pictures with people that buy pallets. They had one where this guy had a really long trailer, and it had a ton of small appliances, kitchen stuff. And the only thing that I can tell you is that we can't keep any Instapots, air fryers, anything like that. We can't keep it in stock. I mean, we just can't. It's gone like within a day of listing anything. But man, somebody scored a hell of a good load. They had 3 or 4 pallets on the back. I'm trying to find it. There it is right here. Yeah, they were loaded up really good. But see, now when you look at something like that and you're like, man, that'd be great. But those are like very rare on loads when they come through. Like back in the day, you used to be able to get all of these eBay beautiful looking appliance pallets with the cure eggs, always looking for cure eggs, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can say, I sold one time in Jacksonville. There was a very small little little flea market that was in Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. It was over in Mikey's neck of the woods, over in that area. I don't remember what it was called. It was near a car lot. And I had a damn good day. I did a few hundred. I was never there before. And back then, doing like 300 rate. God, that was a million years ago. I don't know if I was in town for like a concert or something, or I don't even remember how that all came about. But yeah, I sold there one time, and I remember I took a bunch of it was a bunch of kitchen stuff, and I did really well with that.
Well, they've opened up. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No, go ahead.
Now they've opened up a couple different places in Jacksonville. They got a place called the Foundry, which is like an indoor. I don't know if it's the old Wilson's building, not Wilson's, but Farm Fresh building or something off of Belfort. But they seem to be pretty. They've got everything in there from like people, artists and stuff will put their stuff out, and then you'll have all these people that are selling stuff that they've made, some kind of wood, whatever. It's a really nice place though. And then there's another place going towards Beulahville that actually they've opened up like a giant flea market made out of the Connex boxes.
Oh yeah,
which is actually pretty interesting too.
They had those over in Wilmington at the. I sold in Wilmington quite a bit. That was pretty good actually.
At the big one out there, over on
the drive-in there
at the Starway.
Yeah, I would go on Sundays.
Yeah,
that was a cool market. You know what is another really awesome market that's not too far from you? Is Jesus, Wallace in Wallace on Thursdays.
Yeah.
On Thursdays. And if you ever want to spend a Thanksgiving, go there and see what that's like. That's freaking crazy. Thanksgiving market there is. Oh, it's really cool. Even on Thursdays though, to go through there, I had really good luck there. So at least you have some options if you do get to buy in and doing kind of a little side hustle and you're making enough off of Facebook Marketplace. But you're gonna need some room though. You're gonna need a storage locker or borrow a garage.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to. And then you can fill it up. And
I'll let my wife know.
Get a couple of them and just fill them up and then not see them for years and not even know how to get into them.
Fill them up, move out of town.
Yeah, and then just move out of town and just pay for them for 2 or 3 years. It's a great idea, great investment, by the way.
I don't feel so bad about the stuff that I've accumulated when I hear about the large amounts of shit that you guys have stacked floor to ceiling, you and Shannon, like between multiple different spots.
Jasper, yes. We do. I've got 2 me alone, I've got the whole barn is filled out back of here. We have a giant unit for all the which is more like a mini warehouse. That's a pretty big unit. That's at least it's so good that we're not holding on to a lot. But I do have 2. I think they're 10 by 20s. Is that what they are? 10 by 20s, Jasper? Did you say?
I'm not
pretty
sure.
big.
They're the biggest at
10 by 30, maybe even. They are pretty damn big.
Yeah.
I mean, that one goes all the way to the back.
So you're paying rent on multiple places to house all this stuff.
Yeah, a couple hundred a month.
You have 2 of those 10 by 30s. So what's that? $200 a shot?
No, I'd say a couple hundred a month I spend, which is ridiculous on 2 different units. I literally have not been to in years. The one I was at a couple of Octobers ago because I have hundreds of boxes of Walmart Halloween stuff, and I keep up until last year, but it's bad
because you do well. Also, one of your big things for a long time was Christmas, right? You do a lot of stuff for the holiday stuff.
Yeah, I love Christmas stuff.
No, I mean like reselling it though. Like you load up on Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, that Halloween thing had come about because I was trying to get Christmas. Problem was the loads that kept coming in at the right time, right before Christmas, were like half and half, and you wouldn't even know it. It would look like a Christmas pallet, then you get into the boxes, and it was all Halloween, which at the time was like, oh god, but it was awesome.
How many giant fake spiders do you need? I mean, it's
yeah, exactly. But I was pulling off enough Christmas stuff here and there to make it, worth it, And Shannon here, this is something stupid, but I would imagine in your area it would go over really, really well. One of the places that I go to that's just down 95 near where Jasper's at, they have some beautiful Target Christmas trees. They're all shelf pulls. We're talking like on the bottom, there's $500 trees, $300 trees. There's a few thousand retail on almost each and every one of those. And they're like $375 a pallet, and you're getting a good amount of Christmas trees, you know. But see, you gotta get them now and let them sit.
Right. And hold on to them.
Sure. And look at Lynn's business, right, Jasper? I mean, the amount of money she does with HSN and QVC. She's got a small little warehouse in the Florence area, South Carolina, and every year she does HSN and QVC trees, and she kills it. I mean, she'll get in those 15-foot trees that are thousands, all the way down to small pencil trees. And I'm sorry, am I boring you, Knox?
Okay, I'm just tired. It's 10 o'clock.
It's getting late. I know. It's getting late. Anyway, sorry,
man. I'm trying to learn myself.
I know you are. I'm just messing with you. Calm down. Calm down. Sorry, I go off on rants. What else you got, Shannon? You got any more? What you got?
Like what do y'all normally pay for, like an appliance pallet, or even a baby? I know with the place that I looked at, they'll label basically what it is, you know, if it's a home improvement pallet or or whatever. What, like, I don't really know what decent prices are, or if they just kind of determine. I'm like worried that it's like Storage Wars, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I can see that on the outside, you know what I'm saying? But it might have damn 3 cinder blocks in the center of it. Yeah, like, you just don't, you know. I mean, obviously, if you're dealing with a reputable place, you won't run into that. But
no, you still will from time to time. I mean, you know, because even at the returns, you know, centers and stuff, I'll give you a perfect example. We're idiots and continue to buy Power Wheels and ride-on pallets. Okay, they're notoriously terrible unless you buy a lot of them at once, and if you take your time and piece them together and or part them out. They're a pain in the ass. You know, we got stuck not long ago from a very honest and reputable place in my eyes. And it was this giant real tree timber looking on the side UTV ride-on. Thing's massive. The 24 volt, I think. Open up the box, and there is a white Ford Power Wheels with nothing but the body, basically. The frame and the body all together. There was no other parts, no battery, no. See, sometimes even if you get something broke, listen, you take out that battery and that charger, and it's worth a crap load, you know, so it doesn't matter. This one, though, so I mean, it happens because they don't even know it. You know, that could have been somebody that got one past Walmart and took it back just like that, hope that they didn't open it up. You know, and then they've got, you know, their money back, and they've got their UTV for their kid to ride around their yard. You know, so it does happen. Back to your question, though. What was it again? What did you say?
Just
Jesus.
Prices.
Yeah, so prices.
Like
prices are tough.
Different
Listen, a lot of people love manifested stuff, which means that you're going to know pretty much exactly what you're going to get in it. I don't. I'm not a big fan of manifests. I'm a big fan of the treasure hunt, if you will. You know, a lot of even reputable and crappy places, they you know, a lot of times they don't realize what is inside of some pallets. You can look at Walmart general merchandise sometime. It's a Gaylord that just looks like crap, and you start digging, and oh my God, there's crickets. There's you know, the cricket machines that I'm talking about that you do the those things. Those are worth
the vinyl cutting.
Sure. Yep. Food. You can find food savers down in there. You know what I mean? There's just so many different things that you can find in crappy looking pallets sometimes too. So that's what makes it fun. So average price. You know, Gaylords are usually around $300 no matter what. And when I say around 300, you know, that it depends on what's in them. It also depends on if it's just general merchandise or if it's what they call a vendor load. When a vendor load comes through, you'll get a lot of specific things. That's where you'll find pet pallets where it's 90% or more all pet or automotive or toys.
Right.
You know, and most of the time though, you don't see those very often, and they're usually very rich. But they can be more usually. I mean, if you've got a whole thing of automotive unmanifested, you know, I mean, they used to go.
Question.
Yeah.
Why is it called Gaylord?
I don't know. Ask whoever. That's the term for it, though.
Got me a couple of Gaylords the other day.
Yeah.
Paid good money for those Gaylords. Could barely fit it in my truck.
I know you.
I was going to ask, and I figured I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's just what they call them. I don't know. It's just a giant box. It's called the Gaylord. I don't know. I didn't make it up. So would you say that's about right, Jasper? I mean, when you're looking at, and I'm just using Walmart as a reference because that's something that I know very well. But I would say $350 average, right?
Yeah,
I would think.
that sounds about right.
Okay.
I'm looking this up.
If you're looking at, there's so many different categories and so many different types. But if you look at like a typical appliance pallet that's got your crock pots and some cookware and you know, Keurigs, coffee machines, blenders, that kind of stuff. I mean, I have paid anywhere between $400 and $700, depending on how well it's stacked, how tall it is. You know, some shorter ones could be much cheaper. You know, so I don't know. The biggest thing is, and I mean, one thing that I can say is you can usually, I usually buy a pallet that I can see enough of and get a good idea.
I found it.
What'd you find?
Gaylord, and this is from
Learning
Google.
Yeah.
I went ahead and searched. First, I just searched Gaylord meaning, and that was all mean stuff. But then I searched Gaylord meaning in regards to pallets, and it brought something up, a direct hit, and it says Gaylord was originally a trade name for a bulk-sized corrugated box. They are big corrugated boxes attached to wood pallets. These corrugated containers usually hold a bagged product or fresh produce like watermelons. Sometimes a trademark becomes a commonly used term. So there you go.
That's kind of funny that you bring up that last part, because if you ever see in a Walmart load a produce box, which is a produce Gaylord, they're a little bit smaller, real heavy. That typically will have very rich Sam's Club stuff in there, which is weird.
What do you mean rich?
Well, I mean that you can like pull Sonos speakers out and things like that. I mean, there's some, just you know, stuff higher end stuff from Sam's Club.
Speaker?
No, I have not.
I'd keep that if you got one.
I hear good things though. I hear good things, but yeah. So, anyways, it's hard to say an average. Everybody's different, but I mean, listen, it's real easy, especially if you're standing there in an appliance pallet and you can add them up real quick. You know what I mean? That's where you want to be at. If you're, 400 in, if you don't see 400 right there standing in front of you, ain't no reason to go past that, Some places will let you dig a little bit, like Jasper and I have dug through hundreds of toy pallets looking for just a couple of pieces, that you just know are sure winners. And that used to be back in the day. That would be we would look for in toy pallets, anyways. We would look for all the leapfrog, things. But now, times have changed. Things are different, and it's so funny because I'm looking for things nowadays that don't really even exist anymore.
Is that your dog barking, Creed?
That is not my dog. Who has a dog? Is that you, Jasper? You got that damn dog?
No, that's dude. I've got dogs galore.
Awesome. Nothing wrong with
dogs
that.
galore, man. That was another thing too. Like like a pet pallet. We fostered with a really big animal rescue here in Jacksonville for about a year. And man, anything dealing with like pet stuff, oh my God, man, it's crazy. Yeah. Like everybody is. And also another thing too, that there's a lot of these Marines that are actually going and getting these pallet things from Wilmington, because when I look on Marketplace, you can tell which ones have done it, because they'll have 14 Instapots stacked on top of one another, and they're like $35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. You want to find your niche then, right? You don't want to be getting the same crap that everybody else is. No matter how good it is, you don't want the same stuff. And so then your homework is to try and find a place that's not too far away from you, that they're not buying from. That kind of thing, because then once the market's saturated, then you're screwed and you're stuck with 900,000 bananas. And that's a story for another time.
It's a lot of bananas.
And of course, keeping an eye on marketplace for decent items just to flip, just so you get used to boxing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can. That's for sure. I would think that with the amount of people in and out of Jacksonville too, there's
got to be all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah.
Electronics, especially.
It's a little. Electronics are iffy, man. Like I've been burned buying a couple things from some of these shady asses in Jacksonville.
Same with Mikey. He went and got a computer from a semi-reputable little business off a marketplace and got completely screwed.
The computer?
Yeah,
that's what I heard. I heard that also.
The computer, basically, my phone is a little bit better than that computer. He got screwed.
I went to Best Buy and bought a Lenovo for $225 brand new, and it runs like a beast, man.
Well, I've got a Lenovo over here that I do nothing but bitch and complain about, and it's the biggest piece of shit laptop. No, I just got it a couple of years ago, and then it sat for like 8 months. I never touched it, never even opened the box, and out of the box it's just slow and bulky and terrible. But luck of the draw.
What were great, and this is a little off subject, but those the netbooks that they sold, like the HP netbooks. Back in right around 2010, they came out. Those were awesome Hummers. The things were great. They had decent sized hard drives in them. You could load them full of music, and it was good stuff.
Yeah. Well, now they do the Chromebooks, and the Chromebooks have like small solid state drives, if that, and they run like a 2 gig processor or 2 gig RAM.
Yeah,
and it's like. I can't. It's not fast enough for me. Not like that.
Brandon says, "What's up, guys? Damn, Knox, isn't it past your bedtime?"
It is. We got 3 minutes to wrap this up.
Yeah, no doubt. Got an early morning.
Right on.
Beauty. All right. What else was there? Was there anything else you can think of that you wanted to ask?
I think that's pretty much as far as for me.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, good job.
So
that sounds great.
Jasper. When he does buy a pallet, he's starting to go through it. He comes across those return tags that say "do not work." He just throw that stuff away, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You just throw it right away, like that video we watched not long ago. That's a really good point. So specifically with Walmart stuff. That's another thing that you do not want to even take 2 seconds to look at when you're picking out a pallet. And I'm just saying Walmart specifically, everything's going to say broke, damaged, whatever. That's a lazy Walmart employee, or that's a person that's going to say, no matter what, is going to say it's broken. If you walk up, listen, there's not many people that are going to walk up to Walmart with an item that they bought X amount of time ago and says, I don't like this. I don't like it. And I just want to bring it back. I need some bill money, right? They're not going to do that. They're going to walk up and say, this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever had. It's broke. Don't do this. Don't do that. And even if there is people there, the Walmart usually just hits that code. Damage. Hardly ever is it accurate. I mean, extremely rare. We watched a great YouTube video, by the way, of a person that he's got a lot of subscribers, don't he, Jasper? That video, that guy, and a lot of views. And they walked in to look at pallets, and his wife is standing there looking at all these, actually some there was a couple of decent looking pallets, and she's reading the tags. It's like, oh, it's broken, it's damaged. Oh, you don't want that. You know, every tag she was looking at, and I said that was really funny because that's not the case typically at all, ever. So keep that in mind. For sure. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Unless you buy Myers, there's a store, Myers, that's I think the hell are they? Midwest, maybe. They're kind of like a Kmart. But for some reason those tags were always accurate, and it was the only kind of pallets that I ever found that they were actually kind of sort of right on, which is kind of funny. But well, anyways, listen, Shannon, moving forward, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to help you as much as I can. I'll look into some things around your area and see, but I think it'd be fun if you will kind of just keep an eye or keep us in mind and let us know when you're going to go, when you what you get, you know, kind of thing, and see where that goes for you. I think it'd be fun to, because we want to kind of do that. I want to do that with a few things. Knox has some stuff for next week, I think, with some bikes, right? And we're kind of got to talk about, you know, what you paid for them, what you plan on getting them, and same, I think, next week at some point with Jasper, if we can get a few things that like are going to be listed this week, and same with me. I think it's fun to follow that all the way through, right? You know. The other thing that I'm looking into is next time that we go down for a big buy, which will probably be next week at some point. I'm going to see how his Wi-Fi is and maybe do a little live thing, walk through there and look at pallets.
Totally should do that.
Yeah, I think that'd be kind of fun, you know. And so then if I did that and you see what I pick out, and then I can take some pictures and whatnot, and we can kind of follow that process through and kind of get an idea of where it's at, you know, price wise. I think
I am sleepy, Mikey. Sorry, Mikey.
It's trust me, that's the same for me. And I know I gotta get up at like 6:30, and hell, my trailer's not even
head to the flea.
Oh yeah,
head to the flea market, which is nice, huh?
Wear your mask.
That's really hard. How am I supposed to smoke with a mask on, dude? I just stand there and smoke cigarettes. And by the way, it is fantastic having a fiance that loves to sell. Boy, she brings in good money, hustling.
Does she stand out in front and draw people in?
Oh yeah. Hey, hon, how are you? Hi. Yeah. Oh yeah. I go hide. Listen, if I come around, they stop talking. So I just hang out back by the trailer and just
put her out there in a Confederate flag bikini top and let her do her thing.
They don't like Confederate flags here in the South. Don't you know that's all banned? You know? Well, Shannon, it's been fun. Thank you for coming.
I don't know. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good talking to you, and keep us up to date, and feel free to ask anything you need, man. We're there. Jasper, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Worked. How many hours did you work in a row? Jasper?
I worked 12 today.
Yeah, that's not too bad for
an hour drive.
Good to see you, Shannon.
Hey, good to see you, Knox.
Even though you guys just met, right?
I for a second I knew him. I was just putting it back together again. Jesus. As you can see, he's still very nice.
I mean, we kind of we shared some things.
Oh yeah, we're Eskimo.
I don't know if you remember.
We're Eskimo brothers. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Well, actually, isn't it? There's 3 of us, aren't there?
Yeah.
I believe.
I was just gonna say.
Pretty sure.
That was great. You just brought that up. I wasn't even thinking about that. That's fantastic. Yes, that's a great story to tell.
Brothers for life.
Yeah.
In a past life.
Brothers who share care.
Yeah. All right, and with that, that's a great way to end. Thank you, Shannon. Knox, thanks for coming on, man. I know it's way past your bedtime.
How are you guys?
And I'm just doing a dry end. How about that? We'll see you guys next week, by the way. Weekly podcast, and the audio only version will be up typically right after the live. So you can find that on all major podcast things. And that's been fun. Everybody wave. Bye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.